Click the links for the other video platforms or support channels, subscribe to the various other links, or join the channel, become a member, and watch the stuff that never makes it out of the monetization limbo. So this is hysterical because this is you got male energy versus female energy. How dare you? How dare you say that different things are different? Yeah, sorry for living in the real world. The male is coming with hard demographic numbers about who's viewing their shows, specifically men or women, because they watch different shows. Like, everyone knows this. And so the woman is responding, Rochelle Leichman is responding with emotion to a rational, fact-based argument. She's not attacking the argument itself. She's going below the central argument and saying, like, well, how do they even know this numbers? It's like, well, for the sake of argument, just assume that they do know the numbers because it's a billion-dollar corporation. They probably do some research into who's watching their shows, what's the demographic, and the big split is male and female. And even to say that there's a split between male and female is to say that there's the existence of such things, male and female, which there is, and we all know this. And we're going to make this show through a female lens. How if you can't even define female? We're going to have all female writers' rooms. So, like, when you say that, you mean biological female. Because, like, when it comes down to making shows where money matters, where it's your money that matters, suddenly you know what a male and a female are. Like, they're willing to do all this kind of silly nonsense where it doesn't affect their bottom line. But once it does, it's like, oh, I look at this. They show I think it's a famous BuzzFeed picture. It's like 20 women sitting at a table, and they all look exactly. I mean, they're like 20 women. They're all in their 20s or 30s, and they all look exactly the same. And they're all, of course, biological women who are pulling strings on this, and they're all like exactly the same beliefs, exactly the same ideology. They came from the same family structures, went to the same schools. They're exactly on the same page with every single point and position. There's no diversity of thought in that room. And they're cheering themselves for having this BuzzFeed writing room. And you look at them and like, is there any self-awareness? What you're like? No, that's the answer. There's no self-awareness. So Warner Brothers Discovery thinks Phantom HBO Max is for the boys. Yeah, because presumably they've done the research and they have hard data to back it up. And she gets emotional over such nonsense. So what HBO did was they come out with this little graphic that looks like it's on two breasts. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You want to put nipples in the center of it. It says HBO is for males. And it's the shows that are going to require thinking. I mean, they couch it in other words, but they said like lean forward shows. And Discovery is going to be for females, and it's going to be mindless entertainment where you lean back type of stuff. And this triggered all the people of soy and cat ladies on Twitter for some reason. So here's the thing: where money is concerned, they know who's a male or a female and who's watching what shows. All this self-identity stuff, it doesn't matter, because when money's at stake, suddenly they know what a biological sex is. All that SJW nonsense gets left behind. And, even like all these media companies that, I don't know, that kind of like blew up 5, 6, 7 years ago, as they run out of venture capital, they're kind of discovering like, oh yeah, all this SJW stuff was not really getting the clicks that it used to get when people were outraged about Trump. So biological men, when I say men and women, obviously I mean biological. Men watch certain things and women watch other things. Your feelings about how you identify, it doesn't skew the hard data. People watch, I don't know, men watch like action adventure stuff. I was thinking like Commando or Predator type of audience. That's an extreme example. That audience is 99% male. And something like a Lifetime movie, it's not exactly the inverse. Actually, I was thinking about that. Lifetime movies are probably more like a man could watch a Lifetime movie and with someone else and kind of follow it and be into it a little bit, where a woman couldn't watch Predator or Commando. It just wouldn't make sense to most women. It's like 99%. Anyway, I mean, because biology, it's like we're wired differently. So with HBO and Discover, the numbers for who's watching what shows are like 60-40 and then 40-60. So it's not it's not so skewed as Rachel Leichman seems to think. Um, it's not a big deal. It's just a general trend to market to the audience who, go where the money is. But the perpetually outraged soy people are terrified to address the idea that men and women are actually different, because they are. And it kind of goes to this thing of the difference between equality and equity, which is why they switch from equality to equity, because equality means you treat different people the same to start with, but the results are obviously going to be different because different people have different capabilities. And to say that is the most istophobic statement ever. So it's just why they switched to equity, which is just communism, where you want and the thing is, like, it's like they never cracked the history book. Oh, socialism and communism, we're going to have equity, equal outcomes. Like, that's never happened before in human history. It never will happen. Why would you perpetually advocate for something that has zero chance of success? Even in small scale communes, it doesn't work for long. The only thing that works is in a patriarchal family structure where you have blood connections. That has the only chance of working. It's like, that's not equity or socialism. That's just a strict patriarchy with a family structure. It's like everything they advocate for is the most asinine. The only reason they do it is because they're brainwashed. They've been brainwashed by Marxists their whole life. They're taught by single cat lady teachers who are brainwashed by Marxists. And then they go to college and they're further brainwashed by their college professors who advocate all this nonsense. You look at college professors, it's like, yeah, but you don't even believe the things you're saying. Like, this is all just this nonsense theory, and it's like none of it. It's funny how the left wing kind of shifted away from like representing the blue collar working family to just going to their ivory tower type of thing. Anyway, so these outraged soy people are just terrified to admit that men and women are different and they like different things. And if the equity equality thing, it's like you just can't treat people as fungible cogs in a machine, because men and women are different. Different groups of people are different. People are different from each other. It's like to say anything other than be 100% on this globalist gulag plantation is absolutely triggering these people, because they've been brainwashed their whole lives, and they go like, oh, you right of center people are the ones. It's like we're the ones who are going against the narrative that Chase Bank, Bank of America, CNN, MSNBC, all these globalist huge billion-dollar corporate structures are pushing one narrative. Us on the right of center are going against that narrative. Who's brainwashed? We're going against the mainstream brainwashing. It's not us. You guys are raging for the machine, carrying out the wishes of your corporate masters. Oh, J6, we're gonna quick, everyone on the left, all these rock bands and all these media companies. We gotta dox these people and destroy their lives. Like, wait a minute, weren't those J6 people actually raging against the machine? Oh, wait, yeah. So you guys want to work with the FBI to track them down? Oh, yeah. Oh, so you guys are like just completely subverted hypocrites. Yeah, welcome to the left wing. Anyway, SJWs on Twitter are angry about anything that brings reality back to the room. Men watch Shark Week, I guess, and women watch home and gardening type of TVs. Why would you be triggered over that? Different people are different, and you have to treat them differently. But once they start extrapolating from that, they get massively triggered by like, oh, what are you saying? What are you dog whistling at? I'm saying, a lot of things, but really, like, eventually these companies have to start writing with black ink instead of red ink. Or even if they're in a profit, they still want to make more. Like, there's been a lot of very softly performing movies lately in this area of pop culture, the superhero branch. There's a lot of those movies that came out like to watch them one and they're done. And I mean, I name them all the time, like the last dozen movies that have come out in the past 5 years. I guess you could start with Ghostbusters 2016 or even Disney 2015, the Disney trilogy. It's like people aren't going back and rewatching that stuff. And then the recent spat of Marvel DC stuff that came out. Like, you're not watching Black Widow over again, or Suicide Squad, or any of the Superman stuff, or most of the stuff that came out. It's like that stuff doesn't get rewatchability. It's not going to stand the test of time the way a lot of the earlier stuff from the 70s and 80s will stand the test of time, at least relatively speaking. Like, nobody's going back and watching the Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings, or Snake Eyes, or all that kind of stuff. They look at this like, oh, there's just nothing here. It just feels like you're presented with something that visually looks good, like Suicide Squad Part 2, and you watch it like, oh yeah, it was okay. You want to rewatch it? No, I don't know why. It's just like, it's like diet pizza or something. It doesn't, like, well, don't even bother making it if you have to make it politically correct. It's a recipe that's ruined by too many cooks. It's like, oh, we're going to try to be all things to all people. So you end up just pleasing nobody. It's like, it's palatable to all people. Yeah. It would have been better to make it excel to all people. You know, I was thinking about the this Wheel of Time's Lord of the Rings thing that's coming out with all this nonsense, with all like mixing groups, and like, it would have been better with, you know, Afro Hobbits type of stuff. It would have made more sense logically. Yes, it's a European English story, so it's like, obviously it should have been just all European people. But if you wanted to make a version of it, say for black people, they want to make their own immersive universe of Lord of the Rings, then it would have been better if they all looked the same. They were all Afro Hobbits, and then just tell that story. That would have made sense. I mean, it wouldn't have been Lord of the Rings, but it would have made more sense than having like all these different groups of people from around the world come together in one tribe. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Either make them all Englishmen or Europeans, or make them all Africans or all Chinese. If you want to make it for the Chinese market, we'll make them all Chinese people. It's like, that's fine. It would logically make sense. You could just give it a Chinese flair. And like Lord of the Rings, with very little adaptation, would work well in many other Asian countries. It's like the whole dragon themes and magic. Well, magic. China doesn't allow magic, but you could work a lot of that stuff into like Japanese or South Korean themes, or Central Southeast Asian type of stuff. It would translate pretty well. I mean, it's like basically going on a quest. But what it doesn't translate is like, oh, we've got African, Chinese, Irish, Mexican, Indian actors all together. It's like, that just looks stupid. That looks like a Hollywood casting call, like a woke checklist. Oh, well, it's just saying something's woke is istophobic. Yeah, I know, but I think you guys have burned through the goodwill on that term. You guys have cried wolf so many times. It's like, you're going to see actual istophobic. There's a meme that goes around, like, they said these people cry wolf so much that, like, they want to get to the point where you can actually say the most racist, offensive stuff. And then you can just gaslight them when they say, like, oh my gosh, that's so offensive. You're like, no, you guys say that about everything. Just, you know, kind of wink, wink, gaslight them. I look forward to that day. I'm ready for it. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.